What is up, everybody? Rez the Collector here, and I have new stuff to review. Freaking awesome! Um, you're probably like, "What's going on? That's a Marvel figure." Yes, it is a Marvel figure. I do have a very small Marvel collection, and what I'm doing is I am collecting one representation of each of the big Marvel names. Um, that's going to be Cap. I do have a 6-inch cap. I've got the Marvel Legends World War II cap because I love that costume. But that's going to be Cap. That's going to be Hulk. Basically the Avengers: Cap, Hulk, Iron Man. Then we get into our non-Avengers. We're going to do some Spidey. Um, God, who else really is big in Marvel? It's terrible. Such a DC guy. I can't really think of the big names. Maybe a Doctor Strange. I do like Doctor Strange. But that's about it. Like the big Marvel names, really. Just Thor, Cap, Hulk, Spidey, maybe some Strange. Um, but right now, we're taking a look at the son of Odin, the god of thunder himself, Thor, Odin's son. One thing I really, really do like about Marvel, and I'm going to say is that they have DC beat in this aspect, is one, these figures are larger than your standard DC figure. I would pull a DC figure over to show you like size comparison. I actually probably will once I get him out of package and into the review. Um, I have a DC figure out right now, a collectibles figure out right now, but that is our guest table dancer, so we won't see that until the end. So they are larger, and two, each Marvel Select figure comes with its own specialized base. And they're very cool. They're like whole like diorama scene, pieces, and they're awesome. I mean, really, I'm actually looking to see if I can pick up like a lot of these on eBay, because each one of these bases is very, very cool. And DC doesn't even give us bases anymore. I mean, even just a standard piece of plastic, a black base that would go with the figures, they don't even give us that. We get nothing. For the same amount of money, these figures are bigger. They're awesomely sculpted, just like DC is awesomely sculpted. But they get a specialized base, and what kind of bullshit is that? That they get these cool ass bases and we're not getting them. And I realize maybe DC's trying to save on packaging or what have you and costs, but Marvel's charging the same price and giving out cool ass bases. So I'm going to go ahead and get the figure out of package, and we're going to take a look at him, and I'll be right back. I am back, and we now have Thor out of package. Um, Initial feelings. He has weight to him, but I think a lot of that weight is the cape. This is a very heavy cape. He feels like, he almost feels like he's hollow inside. He's got some odd articulation. I mean, he's a big figure, but he's got oddities about him, and I'm not sure if this is universal for the select figures or if it's just Thor or what. But let's take a closer look. I'm gonna see if I can turn off my spotlight. All right, you know what? That light just did not help. It didn't. Thankfully, it was only $5 at Walmart, but it just, it did not help me. Everything kind of looks better without it. So, I think we're just going to leave that bastard off. Right off. Alright. Whoa, let's just kick the tripod then. Alright, so let me get his leg back so we can get him into a standing pose again. Alright, so you can see here Thor, Odin's son. First impressions. The face. I guess we'll just start from the top down. Oh, focus. I command you. Kinda looks a little cross-eyed and like he's straining to take a dump. really. I mean, he does. I mean, that's just. I'm not crapping, pun intended, on the Marvel figure, but he does. He kind of looks like, at least the eyes. It's a good face sculpt. It's a very strong face sculpt. He's got a big old head. Big old head. It's a strong face sculpt. The hair, it just kind of looks like, they did one thing that I really hated that Mattel used to do a lot when they tried to do blonde, and they tried to give it depth, and that was basically just by making it look dirty, and that's kind of what they've done with Thor here, is just kind of made his hair look dirty, and maybe that could even just be paint wear, because this thing definitely has some paint, let's see, flesh tone here on the back of the helmet. Thing's definitely got some paint issues. Again, here on the cape, little spot here on the chest. Definitely in a lot of the joints, you can see where the paint has worn away. His hand is kind of loose where he's holding Mjolnir, so I'll be using the heat trick on that. I don't use boiling water. I actually have a space heater here in my collection room that I use. I use the space heater to heat everything up. And then I have another fan that I use to kind of cool everything down. It's not as fast as the boiling water trick, but I'm lazy and I don't have anything to boil water with down here. So there you have it. I have used the boiling water trick in the past. It is a very good and effective trick, which you do. And, you know, I asked a lot of people about this before I met some of the cooler people through YouTube. And I didn't get any responses. Nobody wanted to talk to me like I was the new guy. And it was like, screw you, fat boy. And I was like, oh, please, tell me what I want to do. But the boiling trick, what you're going to want to do is get a little kettle of boiling water, dip whatever part you need to adjust, move, what have you, into the boiling water. I count to 10. Take it out, make your adjustment, whether that is trying to get a joint to move or fixing banana leg, whatever you're doing, make your adjustment, and then once you have your adjustment, I blow on it a couple seconds to try to start to harden the plastic, and then I dip it in cool water. Anything with rapid cooling, you don't want it. You don't want anything to rapidly cool. It can cause damages. At least in other things. I mean, with action figures, you know, what have you. But rapid cooling can, you know, cause damage. So I try to cool it off just a little bit before I dip it in the water, and then I dip it into cool water, not ice cold, to get the plastic to reharden. And then you've made your adjustment. So on him, I'm going to be using the heating trick to not only straighten out the handle of Mjolnir, but also to tighten his hand a little bit so that he holds the hammer better, so that I can pose him better. I'm actually going to just move him to the side for a second, and we're going to focus on his base. Are you watching DC Collectibles? I may actually post this review on the DC Collectibles Facebook, and I'll probably get a bunch of shit for that from other collectors, but seriously, DC, look at this. It's a specialized base just for this character. It's massive. It's freaking awesome. What the hell is the matter with you guys? For as much money as we pay, and I gotta say, the quality of the figure on DC is better. The sculpting is just as good. This is an amazing sculpt job, except for, you know, the I gotta poop look on his face. The figure is sculpted extremely well. It's a very, very nice sculpt. But the figure, like I said, when I lifted up the cape, there's a lot of weight in there, that cape, and that, I don't know, it's something about this body that just, it feels very, like, empty and hollow to me. And I could be wrong. It's just, maybe that's just my impression of it. But I think I'll be able to tell more once I get the Hulk out of package, and I'm able to compare the two side by side. So let me just, here's Mjolnir. Very cool. I kind of would have liked the more standard Thor hammer with the writing on the side. He who possesses this hammer and is awesome and looks like he's got a poop will possess the power of Thor. So let's go ahead and set that to the side. And I want to take a look at his articulation. Like I said, he's got some kind of weird articulation. The head is You get no side to side, no like tilting. You do get up and down, and extremely tight left and right. So I'm not going to mess with that too much. Our arm articulation, it is ball jointed, but it is tight. It is really tight. You can see the ball joints there. Weird kind of rotation here at the elbow. It does rotate and bend, and again, it's very tight. And then of course we do have wrist rotation. Same of course with the other arm. Leg articulation is what really gets me. The leg articulation is weird. It is. I guess I'm just used to DC. But as you can see here, it looks like it's on a ball joint, but when you try to move, like if you just try to move the leg straight out, it doesn't move out, but it will go this way. And then there's articulation in the knee, so you can like move the knee, you can like adjust the thigh this way, and then move the knee and bend it and kind of get it to where it looks like it's moved straight out, but it hasn't. It's actually kind of weirdly rotated to the side. And then to put it straight again, you're going to rotate that leg back, and then you're going to rotate your knee again, and he's straight. I find that articulation to be very weird. I'm actually not fond of any of the Marvel articulation for legs. Be that this Select figure or the Marvel Legends, the leg articulations are odd. You have to like rotate the leg in order to move it forward or move it side to side. You have to move the actual ball joint to different positions, and that's weird. I don't like that. I really prefer the Mattel and the new DC Direct. Nope, I can't use him yet because he's our table dancer. Who do we have here? Who do we got? You guys have seen my. You're collectors. You know what the DC collectibles, the new rotation looks like. And then the Marvel. I got a Marvel Legends figure right here I bought for fodder. Captain, what's his name? Claw. Kind of looks like a janky Magneto. Yeah, I mean, look at this weird rotation. It doesn't go like up. Again, just like the Thor, you kind of have to rotate it to the side, and then you can adjust the thigh, and it looks like it has an up and down motion. But then again, you'd have to rotate it again to get it to do a side to side. So very odd articulation for Marvel Legends and Marvel Select. That's one thing I can really say that I don't care for. And maybe that's some of the reasons why we get the lower price for the bigger figure and the base, is they have taken some shortcuts on the figures themselves. There you go, Claw. I didn't even know who you were. I had to look you up, and I don't like you, so you go on the floor. Alright, but overall, it's a cool figure. It is a very cool figure. I like Thor. Now, I think my personal liking for Thor is more from mythology than from Marvel Comics. I was raised by a reader. And what I mean by that is my grandmother, who took care of me and my cousins most of the time, she didn't really dig on the children's books. When we were really small, there's a picture of like me and my cousins sitting there in my grandma's lap, and she's reading us like a Mickey Mouse versus a robot book or something. But when she told us stories, when she read us stories when we were a little bit older and more able to understand, once we got out of like the toddler phase, we were like 4, 5, 6. She didn't read us children's books. She read us mythology. And I realized as I got older, she cleaned it up a little bit, because mythology's fucked up. Not so much the Norse. The Norse is pretty standard, but the Greek and Roman is just fucked up. But that's where my love of Thor comes. A historian named Bullfinch. His mythology book is what she read us out of, read everything, and it had everything in there. It covered, Greeks, Romans, the Norse, even up to King Arthur and Robin Hood. Covered all of that. So those were my children's stories. That's what I grew up with. I didn't get all the Clifford the Big Red Dog and very little like Mickey Mouse. I got the fantastic stories, and I think that's where my love of fantasy and superheroes came from. Was those stories that my grandmother my grandmother read us, you know, the stories of Hercules and, you know, Apollo, Zeus, Thor, and the whole Norse pantheon. You know, those guys were basically, you know, the first superheroes. Those were like the first, you know, larger than life figures. You know, so that's where my love comes. That's where my love of Thor comes from. Not necessarily the Marvel version, but the actual mythology. And I think that's one of the reasons. I mean, I like, you know, Cap's cool, Spidey's cool, Iron Man's cool, but Thor, that's where, because I don't think I've ever truly read a Thor comic book. I don't think I own one. I own. Well, I don't own a Cap either. I don't own a single Avengers book. I own like a couple of. I'm getting really off topic, and I'm sorry, guys. I own a couple of X-Men, not a lot. A couple of singular Wolverines. The X-Men's I have are from the early '90s TV show. I have like the first 4 or 5 issues of that. I've got some Hulks. Hulks were cool. I've got some Spider-Mans. But that's pretty much it. That's all I've really got. I've got like Venom #1. I think I have Carnage #1. But that's it. I don't think I even own a Captain America comic. I don't own a Thor. I maybe have a Daredevil. I know my brother's got some Daredevils. I might have one Daredevil. Actually, I do. I know I have one Daredevil. When he got his new suit, what was that, like the 90s? That weird, like, red and black one? I have that. But that's it. So that's got really off subject. That's where my love of Thor comes from. He's a very cool figure to have. I'm happy to have him. Like I said, I'm not going to have a huge Marvel collection. But for what I do have, definitely Thor is going to have his place in it. He came with the cool base. He came with Mjolnir, the hammer of Doom. I got some wacky articulation on that, but what are you going to do? One last piece. I know this is like getting to like a 20-minute review for a Marvel figure, and that's kind of messed up, but one last piece I want to show you guys. Is this. Take note, DC. They want to know what you think of the figure. Holy shit, what a concept to want to know what you think of the product and, you know, any additional comments to actually want their customers to give them feedback. Take fucking note. Alright? Last thing we have here is our table dance of the day. And we'll do the size comparison right after the table dance because I forgot to do that. Sorry about that. Table dance of the day. We have a very hard to turn tripod. We've got Bizarro. Bizarro is our table dancer. Him I'm happy to table dance. So there's our table dancer of the day. We've got the new 52 Bizarro on the table for us, giving us that entertainment. It's a little freaky, but he gets into it. So last thing I'm going to do is this size comparison between the Select and the DC Collectibles. So I'm going to give Thor a little bit of an advantage in the fact that he's a god, so that's maybe why he's a little bit bigger. And of course, the only other figure I had to compare is Hulk, who is obviously going to be bigger, but he's got like a foot on Bizarro. And Bizarro is supposed to be the same size as Superman, which would make him about 6'4". That's going to make Thor about 7 feet tall. He is wearing some big old hooker boots, though, so maybe that's giving him some height. From some of the other Marvel Select figures I've seen, like Daredevil, they look more in size comparison with DC Collectibles. So that's another thing that Marvel's doing, is they're actually taking the various sizes of their characters into account when making their figures. Whereas DC is like 6.75 or 7.75, bam, put them out there. Everybody's the same height. DC Universe is weird. You get to this height, you fucking stop. So there you guys go. This was a really long review of a Marvel figure, so it's probably going to get all of like 6 views, so I probably just wasted all kinds of time. But hey, there's Bizarro again. Everybody loves Bizarro. And he table danced for you. So, I mean, that's cool. Who doesn't like a table dance? From Bizarro. Alright guys, this was Rez the Collector. I really want to thank you all for watching. If you stuck with me throughout all of this, thanks. What were you doing? I of course, would like you to subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber. I do try to do action figure reviews as often as I can. I am doing some new stuff now that I just picked up. Once I'm through that, though, I am doing reviews on request, or reviews on demand. That's what I was calling it. So if you want to take a look at my collection videos and see if there's anything there that you want to see, you're on the fence about, anything that, yeah, like I said, you want to see, you're on the fence about anything you're thinking about picking up and you want a better look at, you want to get somebody's opinion on it, and you want to ask any questions to me before I do the review. Hey, can you focus on this? Can you focus on that? Can you tell me this? Because I would find that helpful myself when thinking about, hey, I want to go pick up this figure that's a little outdated, but I want a little bit more information on it. And some reviewers, we do, we hit the highlights. The face is cool looking, the articulation, but anything you want specialized done, if you want to see size comparison with another figure, anything like that, I'm happy to do it. Let me know. Again, Rez the Collector, thank you for watching. Have a nice fucking day. Sorry about those swear.